Here we go. We're unmuted now. Thank you, PDG Jack. It's my pleasure to be with you today. Wow, if you're not inspired by now, folks, we need to take a heart monitor check on you, because after seeing Ted's presentation and especially Carol's with the needs out there in the world, we know that there's a lot of work to do, and we can put our hands to use, as Floyd says. So this is wonderful that we've got so many opportunities, but it takes people. The foundation does great work if you have people to pitch in. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about our district membership situation. Our basic goal is to attract and engage new members. That's really easy if you think about giving the gift of Rotary, as DG Mike says often enough. Well, probably not enough. We need to keep that message out there, but we need to give the gift of Rotary, and we see why, thanks to Carol and Ted. (2020) and 2021 had some roller coaster experiences, you might say. We were down and we were up. Not UPS, but up, the ups of Rotary. What did we see that was different from anything we've ever experienced? Well, obviously it was the pandemic. We were concerned about our members. We quit meeting. We had to follow guidelines. We were worried about protective equipment, sanitizers, and if we did meet, we had food service challenges, many of which were overcome thanks to innovation and creativity from the leaderships of the clubs. Many clubs reduced their meeting frequency or did not meet altogether. Some immediately turned to the virtual world to continue meeting and keeping their members engaged. That was probably one of the biggest challenges during the pandemic, is just connection and engagement. Just to kind of give you a perspective, we saw that in our zone, which has 17 districts and 777 clubs with over 32,000 members, we actually lost 7 clubs throughout all the zone districts this last year. Membership across the zone was down almost 2,000 folks. We're in a partnership with District 30 and 30, zones 30 and 31. This is just our zone that we're a member of, zone 31. All districts lost membership, some as few as 66 members, some as many as 306. So the percentage of decline was anywhere from about 2% to 11.5%. The average membership was down 5.9. So these are some of the concerns and some of the things, but it's reality, folks. It just happened. In our district, we started the year off with 43 clubs. We had 1,536 members. Unfortunately, one of the clubs closed. It had gotten down to 8 or 9 members. It was struggling, and so they voted and they did close. Some of the members joined in close by clubs. So our membership dropped from 1,536 down to 1,447 members. We were sort of in the middle of the pack. We dropped or declined 5.7%. But there is some good news. While we did see many of the clubs decline, anywhere from 1 to 15 members, 6 of the clubs remained the same, and 9 clubs actually gained during 2021 Rotary year. So I'd like to recognize the Athens, Big Sandy, Carthage, Cedar Creek, Clarksville, Hugo, Longview, Gregton, Quitman, and Tyler for attracting new membership during that year. As the theme for the year stated, Rotary opens opportunities. So one of the big things that came out of the year of the pandemic was how can clubs be more flexible? How can they be more innovative? And many of you did that. We had to maintain our connection and to continue to serve. Coming out of this, I think one of the big ups for us is that we are positioned for growth because of the constraints of COVID and the pandemic and the lockdown. There is a pent-up desire to meet. There's a high desire to serve other folks. And when we see presentations like Carol's, that desire is even heightened. Many clubs innovated. They figured out how to welcome corporate membership, couples memberships. They reached out to new groups. Tyler Rotary Club partnered with the Young Professionals group in the Tyler area. They changed their club meetings. They changed their formats. They looked for new service opportunities. Instead of doing group service, they did individual service. I know our club went from doing a group cleanup at parks to just encouraging people to go and individually and do what they can on their own time. And so we stayed very distant. Online fundraising, who would have thought? But it worked. Flexibility in all areas, including the dues, the virtual speakers. We're going to talk about the flexibility of dues here in a little bit. We have an opportunity now, really, to get our story out, to tell our COVID story. What did we do during the pandemic? Tell the story of Rotary in the world. Tell the story of Rotary in our local communities. It took positive leadership, and certainly we can thank Jack Welge for leading the way. I'd like to thank the club presidents, especially those where we had growth in membership, for their leadership and staying positive. It was a great time in many respects. We learned a lot. Some of the things that have happened since July 1st of this year, as we move into a new Rotary year with DG Mike Groom, and I would have to thank him for continuing to carry the torch and beat the drum and encourage each of us to bring one additional member. When you break it down like that, it's not such a big challenge. All we need to do is ask. Ask a neighbor, ask a work colleague, reach out to another business, look around to what businesses are not represented in our Rotary clubs. Plan an event, plan a campaign, a contest, make it fun. Two of the standouts for the district so far this year are the Winsboro Rotary Club that grew by 75%. Their membership chair went out and was basically responsible for inviting new members. It's a small club, but they added 6 new members, and that gave them a 75% growth factor. They are very engaged in helping the schools and the local community and supporting the park. I'm not sure if it was a spark or not, but it was great to go visit the Rotary Club of Winsboro when Jack Welge and Mike Groom, and I think Carolyn Franks was there, but several of us went over to just show our support and pat them on the back for starting to meet again in person. And all of a sudden they've blossomed. Henderson Rotary Club, with the coming out of the district assembly in April, came up with a game plan. David Higgs had a vision of increasing their club membership, or at least doubling it. Well, the vision was to double the club membership. So they took their officer installation as an opportunity to have a banquet and invite folks from all over town. Each member was asked to bring or invite 5 members, or excuse me, invite 5 guests. They hosted about 95 folks at a banquet. 18 or 20 of the members showed up and sat with their guests, and they were given a presentation by PDG Carol Greenwald on Rotary, and a short presentation, maybe 10 minutes, as to what the Henderson Rotary Club was doing for the community, for the world, and what Rotary International is all about. Concluding the meeting, David Higgs got up and told the folks that were invited there that they were chosen and invited because they were thought to have the qualities of Rotary membership. And they were given an opportunity by signing a card at the table to indicate their desire to join Rotary. They were also, those that did give a positive yes at the banquet were then given a membership application. So between David Higgs, John Henson, and the other members, Bill Preston, of course, they had a wonderful, outstanding result. They've already added 14 new members that I know of, and they are on track to add 3 or 4 more. I'd like to share with you real briefly the brochure that David Higgs gave us. I don't know if that is showing. Shirley, can you give me an indication if this is showing up on the screen?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. Okay. Hang on a minute. Did the screen share at all?
No, sir.
Oh, my word. All that work.
There you go. Good job.
Oh, you guys missed all the good stuff. But I'd like to put the clubs, I'd like to highlight the clubs that gained membership last year there. And so I thought we had this thing sharing all the time. All right, we're going to get back to, okay, this little brochure, and I'll be happy to give this out to and send this to the clubs that would like it. But David gave a summary of his program in this brochure, how to double your club in 60 minutes or less. And he gives you the pointers and so forth for conducting his event. Now, it does not have to be, you do not have to wait till next year's officer installation to do this. You can come up with an idea and host an event with any kind of a theme. A couple of the clubs have already done this. Tyler Sunrise comes to mind, and I know Kilgore is interested in doing an event, so they're in the planning stages, I do believe. One of the things that I thought was key in their execution was that David Higgs, the president, the incoming president, told these guests at the meeting that, of course, their luncheon was free, but they also removed the barrier of cost in terms of dues. So the club committed to making the first 6 months of membership dues free for anyone that joined based on that meeting or that banquet. They also told the invited guests that they only had to, if they joined Rotary, it was a 1-year membership. It was a trial membership. If they didn't like Rotary at the end of the year and they wanted to leave, no harm, no foul. But give Rotary a chance. And so it was a 1-year time commitment. That's all they were asking for. And so you can see that what they were doing with the banquet that day, but then down here they give you the summary of the commitment for the 1-year program, the dues for 6 months, and they did not let people defer their decision. They put an enrollment card on the table for everybody, and that was very key. Now, if you have great growth, what is it that you need to do? Obviously, engagement. So one of the keys, again, to the Henderson Club's plan is to have a project for this group of new members. Actually, I think they're up to 2 projects. They split the group into 2 groups, a little bit more manageable, more projects, maybe more impact. So they have a mission right off the bat. They can plan, they execute. The club has budgeted for that service, the cost of that service project, and they are working, they're coordinating with the treasurer so that they know their financial limitations and some of the club processes for executing a grant or getting the money, and also putting the project in place. So what do we have? We have a situation now, thanks to Henderson, Winsboro, and many other clubs since 1 July, that we are leading the zone as far as membership goes. Of our zone, 16 of the 17 districts have increased their membership. Member numbers are up anywhere, this is other districts, anywhere from 4 to 44 members. We are one of the clubs, one of the districts with 44 members, new members. Mike gave, I think, a number of 46, 47. It depends on when the cutoff of the report is that you're looking at, but perhaps he got some updated numbers. But the zone membership has increased 1.2%. Our district has increased 3%. What can your club do? Utilize the Rotary Learning Center. If you've not gone on Rotary.org and looked at the Learning Center and looked at membership topics, there is some great material in there. Please have your club president, your club membership chair, look in Rotary.org. For the AGs that are on the call, please check with your clubs and make sure that each club does have a membership chair. Have a plan. Simple little 4-letter word, PLAN, plan. What are they going to do? Is it a contest? Is it a campaign? Is it an event like Henderson had? What do they want to do? But make it special, make it fun. You can get help from us. Just as Carol, Ted were willing to come to the clubs, I too am willing to come out to clubs and help you, especially in the planning part. Stay positive. Tell your story of service above self. Make it very simple. Each one, bring one. And I would put in a big plug for club visioning. Each of the clubs should be in contact with Sam or the assistant governors. Sam Scroggins, our visioning coordinator, go through their assistant governors, and hopefully assistant governors are also championing, you get it, promoting the visioning process. If your club will do visioning, I guarantee you that they will get excited about Rotary one more time. They will be more committed. They'll see the growth. They'll see the opportunities. So it's a great process. It will be their plan. It takes just a very little bit of time, and I would call it a small investment of time to make their club even better than it has been.
If there are any further questions, if you could send them to Lee over the chat function, we'll move on. We're going a little bit early at this point, but we'll move on to our Assistant Governor, Greg Holland, for his presentation.